Hello and welcome to this short review and test of this BaiFeili inexpensive large diaphragm condenser microphone. To be honest, I never really expected to buy an inexpensive Chinese studio microphone. Historically they've been pretty poorly made and quite hissy, but this mic, the BaiFeili V5, had a glowing review from American voiceover artist Mark Yoshimoto Nemcoff, so I thought, well, I'll give it a try. Now, I wasn't sure at first whether the smooth tone that he achieved was actually due to the microphone or to his smooth voice, or perhaps the expensive preamps that he used. But as you can hear now, it's actually pretty smooth on my voice. Now at the moment I'm speaking about 6 inches away from the microphone, and I've set the gain level at 57 dB on the SoundDevices mixer, and there's no processing going on, there's no low cut. This is the microphone just out of the box, just as it sounds at about 6 inches away. Now the microphone itself is a metal microphone. It's got a solid metal case and a metal grill. The only thing that's plastic is the shock mount, which is a bit of a compromise, but it works well enough. The plastic's quite nice and it's quite well finished. Despite the fact on the website it gives the colour as plastic, which is a bit confusing because it is a metal microphone and it weighs about 0.43 kilograms. So it is a pretty hefty mic, and it fits into the stand with a screw thread on the bottom, which you can also use with the mounting adapter that comes with the Rode NT2A, a circular adapter. So it doesn't really need the shock mount. You can mount it on a solid mount, provided you're not bouncing around a lot on the table or the floor. If you're a musician on a floor, then yes, certainly probably put it in the shock mount to be safe. Now the other thing I wanted to mention on this is the polar pattern, and as you hear, as I turn it round so that it's at right angles to my voice, then it's dropped off, and of course at the back there's very little going to come into the microphone. So I swing it back round to the front again, and there we'll have the normal sound. I also wanted to mention the handling noise. Now if we touch this, very little handling noise, and in fact you can hold it in your hand, but on the back you can probably just see there's a little plastic panel which gives you a view into the back, but it gets some induced hum if I bring my finger onto that on my hand. So that's a little insight into what's inside the microphone, but actually you have to be a bit wary of that in case you have any equipment around the back that's going to get in, because if you like, the Faraday cage, the shielding of the metal case is not going to be in operation where there's a plastic window in the back showing you the circuit. So that's just one thing to look out for. So I now want to compare the BaiFeili V5 with the Rode NT2A. Now both these microphones are set at 57 dB of gain, and they're both 10 inches away from my mouth. That's about 25 centimeters. And as you can see, the microphone gain levels are set so that they are exactly the same. And I'll speak first of all into the BaiFeili, which is the one in operation at the moment. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. And I'll now switch over to the Rode. So this is the Rode NT2A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. And this is the BaiFeili V5. You can also work this microphone very close, although I need to drop the levels down a little bit for that, but just a fraction as I move close to it. And there we're within an inch or so of the microphone, and it's still very smooth, and it's not giving that thumping sound with the bass as you get with most cardioid microphones. It tails off very gently, and of course I can come back and be at my normal 6 inches or so, but I can also work this at about 12 inches, but I'll have to increase the gain a little bit. So let me just push it away there, so it's just out of shot, so that's about 12 inches away, and I'll just boost the gain couple of dB. So I've just given a 3 dB gain boost on that at 12 inches, and that's well out of shot. That is a good ruler's distance. It's just out of the frame, and of course you'll notice that I'm speaking at 45 degrees to the microphone, which is always beneficial rather than straight into the capsule. So let's pull that back now and bring the microphone to the normal 6 inches or so. But you can use this on videos out of shot, and in fact I'll just demonstrate in a moment how I can use it overhead. Now, in order to mount the BaiFeili microphone onto the overhead boom, I need to use the adapter ring that comes with it for mounting in the elastic suspension, and that just fits as normal as it does in the suspension onto there. And then I use the NT2A solid mount, which will slip on the end of that either way, to mount it on the boom, and then I just fit the locking nut on there, which is part of the BaiFeili mount grip, and when that's tightened up, then that will mount on a boom, and I can use it horizontally. So I've now mounted the BaiFeili in this overhead position just out of shot, the sort of thing you'd do when you were filming a video such as this and you didn't want the microphone in shot. So it's only just out of shot, it's just 12 inches away from my mouth. So there it is, and just press it out. So this is the BaiFeili V5 in the overhead position in a video shoot. And now I'll compare that with the Rode NT2A. So I've now mounted the Rode NT2A in the overhead position. So again, that's about 12 inches away, and it's being recorded onto the MixPre3 with a gain of 57 dB. So the Rode NT2A to compare with the BaiFeili V5. Now finally, let's have a quick look at the microphone specifications. Now the capsule itself is 34mm in diameter, and it's a cardioid microphone, so a very nice cardioid pattern. Now on the website it gives the overall frequency range as 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, but the figures on the box are 40 Hz to 16,000 Hz, so it's quite a bit less on the high end when you read the spec on the box. I don't know which is correct, but from my point of view it doesn't really matter, because 16,000 is ample for a male voice, so that's fine. In terms of sensitivity, it quotes minus 34 dB on the website, which is quite sensitive and very similar to the Rode NT2A that we were listening to before. But on the box it gives the sensitivity of minus 47 dB, which is a lot less sensitive. But in my tests it's about the same sensitivity as the Rode NT2A. Maybe a couple of dB less, but nothing to be very significant. The microphone itself weighs 0.43 kilograms, and it requires a 48 volt phantom power to drive it. The signal to noise ratio is given at 79 dB on the website. It isn't clearly stated on the box itself, but I would say that's about right. I can't hear any background noise or hiss at all. Again, it's very similar in practice to listening to the Rode NT2A, although the Rode is an incredibly quiet circuit. So I hope you've found this little test useful. I have to say that I'm not very keen on buying microphones from China, and this can only be obtained at the moment direct from China, from AliExpress or Alibaba or those sort of sites. I bought it from AliExpress, and it only cost me £111, but that was because the postage was free. There was an offer on at the time, and there was also a first-time buyer's discount. So I managed to get all of those. So for me it was worth trying, and actually it's been very worthwhile because it is a different microphone, it is very smooth, and you can use it for all sorts of things, for narration, for voiceovers. You can use it very close, you can use it from a distance, you can use it overhead, and it just gives you this rather smooth sound, an old radio sound like an old vintage microphone. So if you're interested, have a look on the links, and also check out Mark's video, which is on YouTube, which I saw and which tempted me to buy this microphone in the first place. So for now, goodbye